So does it mean that so there is such practices, the one that I mentioned before, it exists nowadays?
Which?
The union.
Of course, why
ones.
not? If those who are very serious practitioner of the Tantriyana, of course they practice.
Touch the leg.
Touch the leg.
Thank you very much for having this interview with me. I'm very glad that you had some Dharma talks in Hong Kong.
Thank you so much for giving me the time in your YouTube video. Thank you.
The first question is, what is Buddhism?
Buddhism is the teachings of Buddha. Those who are practicing Buddha's teachings is the Buddhism. And Buddhism is also, you can understand that it's how to deal with your life, and how to eliminate all these sufferings. Yeah, so that's I'm just trying to give you a very short explanation of that Buddhism. Actually, it says in text they have a many meaning of Buddhism. The more is that the Buddhism is the teaching of Buddha and the practicing, implementations. Yeah, we say that. Yeah, that is Buddhism actually.
So, what's special about Tibetan Buddhism?
Tibetan Buddhism, actually, Tibetan Buddhism is the mostly Mahayana and Vajrayana's Buddhism in Tibet. And you're asking what is special in Tibetan Buddhism, right? The Tibetan Buddhism has the same essence, in what the Buddha has taught in India. Is the same kind of teachings exist in Tibet also. The difference is that in India, many times before, they are studying in Sanskrit and Pali, but now it comes to Tibet, and the Tibetan, they are they translate all this Pali and Sanskrit into Tibetan. So they are Tibetan, they have their own letter, their own language to study full the teaching of Buddhas.
I think one special thing about Tibetan Buddhism is that the iconography, like we can see those the Buddha with consort and in union, so that is very exotic to
Tibetan Buddhism. You see, in Buddha's time in India, the Vajrayanas, the practitioner, is not that, how to say, publicly. Mostly they are practice Theravada's practice in India, but there were some tantric kind of practice also, but they are not publicly, very secretly. But when this Buddhism comes to Tibet, and then Tibetan is very much involved to tantric kind of practice, Vajrayana practice. So in tantric practice there is so many unique kind of teachings that if you practice, you can achieve Buddhahood in one lifetime using all these your channels. And then there's a union practices also. There's many teachings on Vajrayanas, let's say Tantriyanas practice. Yeah.
So you said the tantras, about the Tantrayanas. Can you explain more in that? Like the different stages of yogas.
I think that in Tantra, if we don't understand properly the Tantra, then Tantra, people may misunderstood on Tantra practice. So in order to understand properly Tantric kind of practice, we must study the Sutrayanas first, the Mahayana Sutrayana, all the sutras of teachings of Buddha we have to study, and then slowly that we go to Tantric, and then we understand what is Tantric. Otherwise, if we very beginner, if we talk about Tantra, then Tantra sounds like a very, actually sounds very, how to say, very naked or something, actually the master, they don't teach Tantra directly to the public. Yeah.
So sutra is the foundation of Tantra.
The Buddha, that's why the Buddha has taught, 3 sermon of teaching. First teaching in Saranat, these 4 noble truth, and the second was about emptiness, and third also that's all are talking about Sutrayanas. Buddha didn't teach Tantric publicly. Only those who are capable understand the Tantriyana, Buddha separately teach them Tantriyana. Kala Chakra is a Tantra, and there's many others. The Kala Chakra is the main Tantra teaching of Buddha. So, but as I told you, in India in that time, Buddha's time, the Tantra is not that publicly practices. Mostly the monks and nuns at that time, they are practicing mostly Sutrayana practitioner, and some they have some practice Tantric, but very secretly. No, they don't let others know that they are doing practice. They are practicing Tantriyanas. Yeah, because people don't understand that. Because the Theravadas traditions says that Tantric is not a Buddhist teachings. So there's a conflict. It's going on. It's still there. Yeah.
So does it mean that so there is such practices, the one that I mentioned before, it exists nowadays?
Which?
The union.
Of course. Why
ones.
not? If those who are very serious practitioner of the Tantriyana, of course they practice, because the practices still exist and the transmission is still exists. So everything exists now, till now. So those who are really serious practitioners, they will do this practice. Why not?
I think this is it's not a common knowledge to most of us.
Yeah. That's why the Tantric is not for public, because people don't understand what union actually means here.
So what does it mean?
Actually, I also don't know about that much about the Tantric, but honestly, that union means that Yap in Yum, that's father and mothers there, and father considered as a Tap means the method, and the Yum, the female, considered as a wisdom, and Tabdang Sherab. These two, the wisdom and the method comes together, and then they will practice on that. They achieve in order to achieve this Buddhahood. Yeah. So this actually symbolic of the wisdom and the method. Skillful method. Yes. So better don't go in the Tantric, So you can first actually for the beginner, I think it's better to understand what is actually basic Buddhism foundations. And then if you understand more about Buddhism, then you will understand slowly, and then you go to this Tantric kind of practice or things or teachings. Otherwise, if you jump there, it's very difficult to understand. Yeah. So they're saying in Tibetan, don't try to jump, where this lions jump. If folks try to jump where the tiger jump, the fox will break their bone. So that means we shouldn't, go that high. So better we should go first about this Buddhism, and there's many. Buddha taught 3 baskets: Vinaya basket, and Sutrayana basket, and then Abhidharma. These 3 teachings, Buddha's whole 84,000 teachings. If we comprise in this in 3 categories, we can categorize in 3 baskets. Vinaya and Sutra, and then Abhidharma. So if we have this, familiar with all those teachings, then
is it best not to become a Tibetan Buddhist at the first place?
No, it doesn't mean that. Tibetan Buddhism or Theravada Buddhism, wherever, if you want to study Buddhism, so the first you have to collect informations, knowledge. Yeah, in order to collection and that knowledge, you have to study, and that is the step you have to study through. All those things, and then we go to the tantric practice. And to be honest, tantric practice, if you really serious tantric practitioner, then you have to find a teacher, find a very good master, qualified master, who can teach you all these secret kind of things. So he will teach you. It's not that one day you met the teacher and he will teach you everything. Not like that. You have to. It becomes like you become like his student, or then become like a servant. You have to serve him many years, and then teacher will actually investigate whether you are capable or not. If you are capable, then he will teach you this tantric, all the practice method and everything. Yeah, as a teacher or speaker, we can say something about that, but the real practice we haven't tasted it yet. Yeah, so it's better that you find a good teacher, good master, qualified teacher, and then you practice, and then you will taste it. What's actually means of union means everything. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. You said you have to go step by step, and then it's like the last stage we go to the Tantrayana, right? So what do we do in the first place? Like when we become a Buddhist, maybe in Tibetan Buddhist, so what do we actually study or do?
Yeah, if you become a Buddhist, Tibetan Buddhism, you should study about there's a 4 school in Tibetan Buddhism. You know that, right? Kagyupa, Nyingma, Sakya, Gilu. Wherever you wherever your teachers from, if he's a Kagyupa, then you should follow his instructions and teachings, and then you have to first study. Of course, first you have to collect the informations, and then there's a certain years that you study. After you finish, then your teacher or master will tell you that if you want to practice, and then you can go to the retreat center, and then you can retreat there for 3 years, and that retreat, within 3 years, the master will teach you everything, all the 6 yogas and all these mahamudras, everything. Yeah. So the important is to understand first.
Every kind of information you recommend us to read. The book you talked about in your talk, like the Jewel Ornament of Liberation, is it? Maybe it's a good start, right?
Yes, that's the the foundations. Those who wants to achieve, Buddhahood or liberate from samsara in one lifetime. That is the book that you must at least understand that topic, and then you practice. If you go to if you practice Mahamudra, you go to retreat. It doesn't mean that you have to go a proper retreat. You can go some isolate or some very remote place, and then you practice that. Yes, and to do that, you must understand first something about. Of course, without understanding of that, it's very difficult.
I have also asked my friends, do they have any curiosities in Tibetan monks or anything? They all have a similar question about how do you become a monk? And do your family object to that?
Okay, I understand that. You see, in Tibet, I see in many years before in Tibet, and also Himalayan, I could say, or Himalayan, all Himalayan are Buddhism. They are all believe in Buddhism. So they have a kind of traditions that every one of their family, son or daughter, should go to monastery to study Buddhism. The rest they are working, for living their own life. They are working. One should go to monastery and study about Buddhism. So this is the tradition. Then every family they send one. If they have a boy, they will send one to monk. If they have a girl, they will send to one to nun. This is kind of traditions. So my also like that. My fathers and mother are very religious, and they are very kind of religious person. That's why So not only me, my brother, he also put in monk, because he said that at that time from the Bhutan to Sikkim is quite far, but yet he managed to send me there, that monastery. I didn't know. I was very young, and I honestly I don't know what will be happening in monk. I always see that when I saw monk at that, when I was young, I saw monk, they are always doing puja. I thought, well, monk is go to monk and monastery and just doing puja is. And when I became a monk, and you have a very tight schedule, you have to wake up really early morning, and you have to memorize all the books and texts and everything, and then you have to study all the rituals things, because when you are young you have to study rituals, Tibetan grammars, how to read, all these things you have to they have a schedule routine there. And then when you little bigger, and then you have to study more depth on philosophy. And then when I realized that I spent my almost 10 years or something in monk, and I thought I should study more in Buddhism, because I already knows a little bit, and I thought I should study more, because it is very interesting. If you study more and more, the Buddha's teaching is like oceans. It never ends. So many things to take, and once you test it, then you like to go deep and deep. So therefore, I went to study, and I decided that I think I should spend my life, to study Buddhist teachings. I think that I can help, because I know I have been studying Buddhism many years now. I'm not saying that I'm a very scholar all these things, but of course I have a little experience, so that I can share with others, that I can introduce Buddhism. So that's why.
So I'm curious, is there any experience that make you very satisfied or happy that you could use that knowledge to help others?
Yeah. Because whenever I met those people, my friends, sometimes they are very stressed. Some they are very how to say, depressions. So they are asking, how can this depressions can help through the Buddhist teachings. So at that time I try to teach. I try to how to say, teach them. I try to help them. So when I teach Buddhism, such as impermanence, all this that some teachings, if I talk with them, so they feel very actually calm, and they feel happy, peace. So they told me that. So I thought, okay, it makes sense. So that is what I experienced.
What is the most difficult things of being a monk, actually? I know it's very fulfilling, but what are the difficulties in it?
There's a lot of difficulties. It depends on it depends on you. You being a monk, and at the same time you are enjoying that, studying and meditating, and if you are enjoying your life, then there's no problem. You become a monk, and it is forced by your parents or some reason is and you don't like to be a monk. Yet you have to be a monk because of this other reason. That will be very difficult. If you decided that I want to be a monk and I want to study Buddha's teachings and I want to meditate, that is, if you have that kind of mindset, you are very happy actually. You don't need to think anything, because if you are staying in monastery, live in monastery, all these foods, accommodations, all offered by others. Monastery will provide that. You don't need to worry about that. What is your work is that study, meditations, practice, whatever you have, your practice has. So that's the, I think, most enjoy, time. Everybody's from morning to evening, walking here and there, running here and there. All are what the reason is what they are trying to find a happiness, find a peace of mind, right? So if you are staying in monastery, you gain all this knowledge and you have a time to meditate. So I think it's good. What else you need? But this is all depend on your mind. What kind of, how you enjoy your life or not. If you don't enjoy it, then you will never be happy. Wherever, I think it's not only monastery life, same as in the person who are doing their job. If they are not interested to doing their job, they will always feel bored.
One more question for most of our audience, because like Hong Kong people, most people are lay people. They are not religious. What advice would you give to Hong Kong people in general?
Yes, of course, Hong Kong people, or whether it's Hong Kong people or American people or Australia people or whole universe people, every sentient being, as I told before that, everyone wants happiness. Everybody wants happiness. Nobody wants suffering, right? Everybody wants trying to, go aside from this suffering, trying to morning to evening. Not only human beings, even the ants, insect, they are running here and there. They are all trying to make their life comfortable. Comfortable means happiness, of course, right? So every Hong Kong people and every human being, we all are same. We all are trying to become a happiness, peace of mind. So there is, right now we are saying the Buddhism, Buddha's teaching. There's a Buddhist teaching that how can make happiness, how can gain happiness, only through generating compassion, loving kindness towards others. That will brings happiness. To practice that generating compassion, loving kindness is not a Buddhist. It's not a, of course it's taught by Buddha, but this is not a Buddhist, how to say, it's not Buddhist only practice. Everybody can practice that. If you practice compassion towards all sentient being, it's not a Buddhist. You not become it's a Buddhist practice, but you don't need to be a Buddhist. So those who are I know they don't like to label that religions, kind of this. So they can practice this loving kindness and compassions and generosity. There's all practices in Buddhism. All are, you don't need to become a Buddhist, but yet you can practice that. It's very, how to say, effective, in your life to bring happiness in your life. So I would say that, I would like to say, to practice compassion. Compassion is good, right? And then loving kindness, not only your family, but towards all the sentient being, and then practice generosity, give to others, offer to, of course, if they don't believe this such in Buddhas and all these things, they can offer to beggars, which brings, of course, the result, it will become happiness, brings happiness. So they can practice. The important is the compassion is very important to practice. You don't need to be Buddhist to practice compassion. So when you become Buddhist, are you born as a Buddhist or what?
I'm not born as a Buddhist.
Okay. Of course, nobody is born as a Buddhist.
Bhutanese are born as a Buddhist now.
No, nobody. in this world, no, they all born as a very clean, you know. There's no level for them. The small kid who was just born, you know, they don't have any religions, they don't have any level, and slowly they, you know, their parents, their friends, their teachers, they level it. That's why Buddha's teaching is very important. That, you know, Buddha says that when you understand, when you grow up, you understand, and then you, of course, you have to, you know, you have to collect knowledge everywhere, not only Buddhist, Hindu, Muslim, Christianity, every religion. You try to, you know, read and you try to understand that, and then Buddha says that if my teaching is suitable for you, if it is really help, if you really want to liberate from this, you know, samsara, and that my teaching is, you know, suitable for you, then you take it. Otherwise, don't, you know, don't follow me very blindly. Oh, that is my parents, my ancient ancestors, parents, they follow Buddhism, that's why I'm following Buddhism. No, you shouldn't do that. You should, you know, investigate, try to understand more Buddha's teachings, and then you follow. That becomes a pure Buddhist. Yeah. Otherwise, you have a kind of, oh, my parents are Buddhist, that's why I also want to become a Buddhist. And one day, because the reason is, behind the reason is that my parents is Buddhist, yeah. And one day you encounter with something that, okay, Buddhism is not good. I don't want. I want to change my religious, and then you will change it. If you believe, if you believe and accept through your, you know, intellectual, for intellectuals or your reason, you know, that through your study, that kind of belief is very strong. It will never change. Yeah. Trust, that kind of trust you have to earn.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your questions. The questions are actually very hard and very, you know, very good questions. I feel it was very hard for me. The first question was. The rest is okay. It's very good questions. Very, you know, I think very, how to say, very useful. I mean, yeah, very helpful. Yeah.
Very valuable insights from a point of view of a Tibetan monk. So we are very grateful for Khenpo for this talk, this interview today.
Thank you so much. Yeah, and what now?
And what now?
That's it. Subscribe your channel.
Subscribe, like, and share it if it's good.
Yes, that's it.
Okay, then bye bye.
Okay, bye.